Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Memeing with the Plat. Today, we are talking Deathblow. We're going to try to kill things with Deathblow. When I say try, I mean succeed. And it is a bit of a meme, I won't lie. But Deathblow is fun, so we're going to give it a go. But really quick, first, boom. Thank you to the members and to the supporters. If you want to support the Plat, please consider throwing a couple bucks my way, get a couple benefits, and you get to support a small independent business owner. That's right, I own a business called Purplatypus Games. Yeah, I mean, I actually have to renew my license. I haven't done that. Don't tell the government. I'm getting on it. Anyway, let's jump into it. So this is a bit of a meme build, and there are two ways to do it that I think we're going to show you the weaker way that is actually usable throughout your playtime, and then I'll show you a post-game way that requires a post-game unit. Also, I did look through the units, right? I try to do, like, I have a lot of memory of a lot of the units and what they do, but if I forgot some really important Deathblow stuff that isn't what I am showing here, I am interested to see what other options there are for Deathblow out there. But this is basically what we're doing. So we are going to be using the Death Pillar Lethal Venom to inflict Deathblow. This weapon, as you can see, is pretty awesome. It not only does it give you -1 AP, it also gives you -50% HP, so it's basically a win-win. And it has a 3 AP attack that has a 75% hit rate, which is bad. And it does 100 potency for 3 AP. It does attack a column of enemies with a piercing strike and inflicts poison. Inflicts death blow versus poison targets. That is why we are here. So I'm actually going to put this on really quick before I forget. Never mind. I don't need it. I forgot that she had King Call and not True Strike for a second here. It doesn't matter. Point is, this is what we're doing. We're going to get lethal venom. Now, how are we going to get poison on the enemies? There is a lot of poison single target things. There is very few poison multiple target things. There's the two main ways I've found how to poison multiple targets is the poison staff on the shaman, which ironically we're not going to be using in this version of the build. This inflicts a poison on a row of enemies. However, there's not a second way. I can't find two of these staves, and there doesn't seem to be a second way to do poison on a row of enemies. And because the only other way I found is a column, it's just better for us to do columns instead of rows. So this is not a kill the entire enemy team build. It is kill 4 units on the enemy team, which we could do very, very consistently. So let's kind of go over it here. So from top left to bottom right, let's go over the build. So Dustbound Staff is going to be basically essential if you want to do this build. This is something that could be bought in the, I think it's the arena. If you come over to Drakenhold, Bamarate, you go there, the Dustbound Staff. I don't remember how much it costs, but basically this is probably one of the most powerful items in the game. I haven't used it on my whole playthrough because it's only usable on Druids, and I don't use Druids that much, but I probably would have had I remembered the staff existed. I honestly forgot. Sandstorm inflicts blindness on all enemies. It is True Strike. So very, very good. It does obviously front and back row. It's insane. And you get this way earlier than you get the long day. Then you get the angels that do this, the feather bows. So Sandstorm, super important. I also am using Cursed Swamp to lower the initiative on the enemies. That's the primary reason. You could potentially maneuver some stuff around, but this is a 5-man squad with how it's currently set up. So this is the only way to get an initiative advantage straight out the gate. You could, like, so if you're going to look at my equipment here, for the tactics and the equipment, I only put on what is absolutely necessary to make the build work, is what you're going to notice. So anything here, these are free equipment slots, and I have it this way. That way you can expand the build to customize it to fights that you need to do. You could customize it to the fights you're in. Yeah, I could put 2 more accessories here for more HP or whatever. That's not important to what the build does, but if you're fighting enemies that are faster than you, you can come in here. You can go to my, your favorite items. You can add a sniper lens, right? You can add an angel plume. You don't need the sniper lens on this character, but you know what I mean. You can add the angel plume and the raven's plume. So you go first, you tailwind the front row, yada, yada, yada. You could even probably find a way to use a lot of these other items, right? So I'm going to leave these items blank if you don't need it to complete the identity of the build here. So that is the Druid. Basically, all they're going to do, as you can see here, is they're going to Sandstorm once their turn comes up. And before the combat starts, they're going to Curse Swamp to give everyone a little evasion, or sorry, an initiative boost, basically. The -30 evasion is also coincidentally very good because the Lethal Venom has a 75% hit rate, which is dog shit, and we really don't want to mess with that. So let's go to the next character here. The Death Pillar is the most important thing here, along with Lethal Venom. Now, I actually do think the Elven Augur or the other sister, are important for this build to actually function. I think you need to use one or the other because you basically need Elemental Impetus. And I actually don't even know if the other one has it. Let's take a look. Does she have Elemental Impetus? She does. Okay. So either one of them will work. But the idea is here, you want an ability. So there are abilities that grant you AP. But in order to use the Death Pillar, you need to have a spear user that is able to generate AP after they do an attack. And so you could do this by having 2 sergeants, but if you have 2 sergeants, it's not going to really work that well because then you got to replace something else in the squad, and sergeants can't target themselves. So you basically, in order to get Death Pillar twice, which is our goal for this build, you see we're at 4 AP. This is going to bring us down to 1 when we use it. Elemental Impetus is going to bring us up to 2. And then Active Gift from our Sergeant is going to bring us up to 3. Why are you using Active Gift on the front row? Use it on the back row. Use it on, can I make it Elf? Use it on Elven targets. There you go. So the whole point is we're going to Lethal Venom twice. This is all. She has access to a lot more stuff. We're not using it in this build. You need to get up to 3 AP. However you want to do that is up to you. You don't need to use the Carnelian Pendant. You could use the Warrior Pendant, get 1 more PP. And then you can instead use Rage of Fireflies to stun a row. See, I'm trying to just explain that there is mobility within this build that you could do. I'm going to start doing the builds like that in general. The Death Pillar, by the way, is the build around item, and I think that is bought from the city up here. Yeah, the fortified city of Sabababa. That is the Death Pillar. It's a pretty fucking terrible item, but you know what? When you're trying to meme, it can be good. I mean, you're going to see, like, it just kills. Deathblow, it just goes, hey, you're dead. You're done now. Sergeant, no equipment needed. No AP, PP boost needed. Just needs to use Active Gift on this character so they could Lethal Venom a second time. So this character has 100% free equipment. You can have them do whatever attacks you want, whatever weapons you want. Have them do other passives, boost. You could do what you want with this character, but as long as they have 2 PP for the Active Gift. Now the front row, this is super important. They don't need equipment, but we're using 2 Werefoxes because they have Venom Thrust. Attack a column of enemies with a piercing strike. Inflicts poison. That's what we care about. We don't care about the increased potency versus poisoned. We don't care about the debuffs, blah, 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 blah. We don't care about any of that nonsense. All we care about is poisoning the foes. And once they're poisoned, we're going to do this twice, back to back. We need these characters to go before the Death Pillar. Then we're going to go Death Pillar. So here's the idea. We want to outspeed the enemies. We want to start combat with a Sandstorm. So they're going to miss their first round of combat. Then 1 column of enemies, poison a 2nd column of enemies. Then you are going to Lethal Venom 1 column of enemies. We should make sure that target is poisoned, by the way. Combatant type poisoned. Then they're going to miss all their attacks because they're blinded. Then your turn is going to come up again. You're going to Lethal Venom a 2nd column of enemies, death blowing 4 enemies in a row. That's how we're going to do it. And that's all there is to it. So again, you can kind of maneuver this and change what you want. The build can basically, it doesn't matter how much HP they have. As long as they don't have Deathblow immunity or blind immunity, this is good. We have the Werefoxes in the front row because honestly, they should have Shadow Nocturnal Evade on. They should just have this on to help them dodge attacks because it works. And if it's at nighttime, then there's no cost to them. But basically, if there's a 5th enemy, they are going to survive because we are not going to target them. So make sure that you're targeting full columns. I don't have this set up because the combat I'm going into they will target what I want them to target. And that's it. So what's the weakness of this build? This build has a couple weaknesses. The weakness is it's threefold. There's 3 main weaknesses. featherbows. That's not one of the three, but featherbows, they blind you. That fucking sucks. You're screwed. But besides that, if they have guards, like if an enemy is going to jump in front of another enemy, you might need to mess with your gambits because you'll still poison the enemy and the enemy behind them. But if they have multiple guards, it could be hard to poison all the enemies you want and then deathblow them all. You'll still get a couple, but you're not going to get full effect. Also, if they have the ability to basically remove poison, if you poison them and they just remove all the poison on their team, then this build kind of falls apart. If they inflict blind, featherbows honestly are just very powerful against a lot of stuff, so they are kind of insane against it. So there's definitely weaknesses here, but if you're just going up against like a beefy boy squad and you're faster than them, they can't do anything. Like this is a great example here. Go ahead and just do Saint's Blade. This is fine. You just do Saint's Blade. But Elaine would be rough here if I put on a bunch of equipment on him because he's so fast. So you might need to initiative fix this team as you get later into the game, but also you could also make sure you're setting these characters up as go-getters, right? If you look here, Lucky Guardian, Go-Getter Hardy, Offensive. This is, Guardian Precise. These aren't exactly, all you care about in this team is initiative. So you could change up you recruit things basically with double Go-Getter, and that'll help you get ahead, especially because a lot of these characters are already fast, right? S rank initiative, you're a C, but you could also stun enemies if you need to, and then a B rank and another S rank, right? So it's an overall fast team, and with the Shaman Druid just slowing them all down, that's going to help as well. So let's kind of take a look at the idea of the build here. Let's go ahead and do a mock battle with our Selvi's unit and Virginia's unit. Virginia is just a straight unit. So if you're just fighting a bunch of tough boys, especially if you're going up against a fight with a bunch of like gladiators and shit, the PP down didn't matter for that. That was just to lower their initiative so we go faster. So we Venom Thrust a column, right? We Venom Thrust a column. We are going to Sandstorm them, so they're going to miss their attacks. And now it kind of doesn't even matter, but we're going to Lethal Venom. Boom. Death. Death. Elemental Impetus, you get an AP. Active Gift, you get an AP. You go back up to 3. Now everyone else just stands by. No one else cares about doing anything, right? Lean Edge, you're guaranteed to miss. You're double guaranteed to miss. Boom. Miss. And now all of our other characters are going to stand by. We could have even had her heal. It didn't matter, but still. Lethal Venom. Boom. Sorry, Elaine. Death. So now this character does get a chance to attack, which is why it's important to have a character that could just use a dodge attack, basically. You also might want to stack dodge on it because they were doing a column attack that maybe you have your character have dodge in the back row as well. You could have moved the wolves so that the final character would have attacked whatever you wanted to, right? You can manipulate the gambits for this specific encounter. Well, that is the idea of the build. It's a meme, but honestly, you don't get to use Deathblow that much. So you got to use a lot of really powerful stuff to make it work, right? You have to use like probably the most powerful character, probably one of the most powerful items, and then you got to double up on getting them as much AP as possible to just make it even function. But honestly, it is pretty cool to be able to just Deathblow things and ignore it. Throughout your playthrough, there might be a couple times that this build will be useful, but I think mostly it's just going to be fun online. Like if someone is just not prepped for it, then you could absolutely just Deathblow their units, even if they had 100 200 defense. It wouldn't even matter. But if they are prepped against it because they know you're going to try to debuff them, then okay. All right, let's take a look if we can beat one of these things here. Let's go to, what's the one I should use always? The Wolf Pack? No, this one will destroy us. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. Let's see if it works. We're number 1. All right, that means we can't lose. I think they're faster than us, and they have True Strike. But let's see if they kill us. Debuff immunity, huh? That's pretty scary. All right, never mind. I know that they had True Strike. I thought maybe they wouldn't crit for 90, all right? So here's the one that I know will work, right? You don't have to, out of luck miners. Something without too much going on, it's just an instant win. But that's why it's a meme, is because it's not resilient to all kinds of different team comps. But if you look here, there's nothing on their team that will cause them to win. They can't actually land a hit on us. Unless they have an insane counterattack, which they won't. Especially because they're not getting faster. Their accuracy will go up, but we'll just evade it. Boom. You got nothing, bro. You got nothing, bro. Go ahead and enrage. They're doing a lot of stuff that looks cool, but there we go. Now they're blinded. Lethal Venom, Death. Elemental Impetus, Active Gift, Standby. Miss. 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 Lethal Venom. Miss. Miss. There we go. Just like that, you leave one enemy alive, you kill the rest. The main issue is going to be getting in front of the enemies to make sure that you go first and that, you know, I mean, you saw the weaknesses, you could see the strength. So it could win fights, but there is definitely a lot going on that could cause it to... All right, let's try this one. Seekers of Might. This one looks like something we could do, right? And it's also kind of a perfect example. They got a ton of really high HP things. So let's see how it goes. I don't know. I don't think none of this is considered ranged, I don't think. So I think we're set. Curse Swamp. Get them all slowed down. Venom Thrust. Boom. Got to be careful with that evade. We might want to add some evade if we wanted to keep doing this. Our evade is high, but it's not insane. Following Slash. Yeah, right, buddy. Sandstorm. This is the dream. Lethal Venom. Double Death. So this is like, I feel like this is like the quintessential strong boy counter. If they're just like, hey, we're a bunch of strong boys that you can't kill, like, yeah, right. We could kill the fuck out of you, bro. Although this guy might actually fuck us up here. He didn't, but it was close. He did deal some damage, all right? I'll admit. We probably maybe would have left something else alive and instead kill him. But, you know, there's the build. It's not as good as yesterday's build, I'll admit, but it's as fun when you get it to work. Because it's very satisfying when your character goes up and you get to see that death in giant letters. Anyway, that's all for today. Much love. For Platypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you all on the flip-flops. You have a good one. Bye!